Alright, this is gonna be a fun video to make. I got back from a Pride event that was so motherfucking bad that it feels like it actually almost turned me straight. But I hate men, so it's like, okay. I feel like I should just fully commit to becoming a narcissist, and I'm okay with it because last night I went to that event and I was like, holy shit, there's nothing but fat, ugly bitches here. Why are you hosting a burlesque show? And then everyone here has a flat ass. Or aside from like two people, but still, you only had like five performers, and then three of them were actually pretty fucking. They couldn't even pull their own gloves off in time for the musical cues. Some of them weren't even dancing, they were just posing and flailing to the music. And I'm not talking about voguing. If I meant, I know what voguing is, I know about all that. Like, no, they were not slaying, they were not working, they did not serve. I was not gagged, I was choking on the inedible shit they were serving. I was so fucking pissed off because it's like I spent money on that event. It's like if I wanted to be around fucking mid bitches and ugly women and stupid rude people, then I would have just gone to a fucking comedy show open mic. If I wanted to get judgmental looks of my outfit and fucking passive aggressive treatment from a bunch of not so good looking people who aren't very talented, I'd go to a comedy open mic. Hell, I've had more fun at open mics than I did at that one. Like Jesus, even the worst open mic I went to, ironically, like just last Thursday, was better than the event I went to just last night. And that fucking open mic had nobody there. Except for me. I was the only person in the crowd. And there were only four people on the mic total. And, but I still had more fun. Anyway, I think I'm kind of over it. I'm over it. I feel like I just want to commit to being like fully as selfish and fucking based and offensive as I want to be. I don't feel like being nice anymore because it's like, okay, we were nice to fat people. We were like, you deserve rights and clothing sizes that fits and good treatment. And yes, you can be beautiful and even sexy. And then now I had to go to an event like that last night where every single person was shaped like a fucking 8 ball and had no ass. And it was like, okay, I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but this is fuck, man. Shit like that, like it would be nice if there was a middle ground between like Victoria's Secret should not have only rail thin size 0 size 2 women on their runways, and but can we also like you can hot people who are fat exist. You don't have to just put any fat person because it's like you I know that's fucked up to say, and it's weird. And don't worry, I'm very sexually attracted to fat people. I'm just shocked they had ugly people there. Like, trust me, the last guy I was with, Jared, he was fat. Morgan was fat at some point. This new guy who I'm already talking to, because what can I say? I have a lot of options and I move a little fast, but I also move slow. I'm not fucking him. We just go on dates. This one guy, he also is quite sizable, very large, fat man. I'm okay with fat men. I'm okay with fat women. But it's like if I'm paying $25 for a burlesque show, and I also almost have to pay like double ATM fees, and they were obscene fees, and then on top of that, I, and I have to wait super long for your event just for there to be like only five performers and they're not good. It's like, oh yes, I totally needed to see someone with a hairy asshole shaking it on the floor. The uh, uh. That event, I'm halfway joking about some of the stuff I'm saying, but I am fully serious with how it was such a bad event in my eyes. They had some cool stuff, like a chick had rose petals in her gloves, so when she yanked off certain items of clothing, like her bra or her gloves or her robe, rose petals would fly out. That was that was camp. It was great. I don't know. I'm just tired. It's like I'm just kind of getting to the point where I just kind of want to say and do whatever because it's not like anyone fucking cares anyway. I can get online and say my fucking standards and it still won't stop some mega fucking popular meme page guy or whatever the fuck in my area to be like, "Ooh, hey, you want to come over and like cuddle, watch movies and fuck sometime?" Sir, why would you? So you see me post videos about me going to these fancy restaurants. You've heard my rants saying how the thing I hate most is a broke man. You absolutely 100% know that wouldn't work, and you still tried it on me. You don't respect me as a person. And then I remember he tried to get kind of like all shitty and smug after, like, ooh, well, it's fine, plenty of fish in the sea. I'm not offended, because frankly, I just try what I think will work. And if a girl doesn't want what I'm offering, it's okay, because I already know I am the package. I have what it has to go on. I texted that man his address, and his energy changed so fucking fast. Ugh. But I'm feeling pissed off because it's like, you know what? If no one cares about me, then why should I care about them? I already know I would make an amazing narcissist. I would. Because if all I have to do is tolerate people, no matter what the fuck they do, even if they're like, but at the same time, I'm better than people in the sense that I don't even need to do that. That's kind of what I mean. Sometimes I think to myself, I could just be one of those people out there who's entirely selfish and befriends like abusers and rapists and this, and that if it means I can get ahead in life. But that's actually not the wave I want to be on. That's not the wave I want to be on whatso fucking ever. And I'm tired of it. Because if anything, like, because it's like, sure, I could do that and then find a way to fuck up all of these people individually, one on one, or spread rumors about them, or slowly ruin their reputation. But at the same time, that's a lot of effort, and I doubt it would work. I'd rather just be like a lone wolf, or rather just like, because it's like, I'd rather. Sometimes I go to comedy events where everybody knows me and I know them, and we don't talk at all. Why? Because they know what they did, and they know I don't stand for it, so they know to leave me the fuck alone. And that's the smart move. And that's what I want to do. I would prefer it if it's like I enjoy myself and I don't need other people to make this enjoyable. If I go to an open mic and the same people who probably would have been like, "Hey, Tamia," and hugged me as soon as I walked in before, if now they're giving me the cold shoulder all because I'm not friends with rapists like them, or I'm not friends with homophobes like them, and I'm not doing that dumb shit, then you know what? I'm fine with it. I'm still gonna laugh my ass off at a joke if I find it funny, and I'll just fucking ignore that person and go about my business. Because unlike them, I don't need to rely on other people to make me happy. Trust me, though, sometimes I've had my mistakes. If anything, I'm self aware enough where it's like, okay, with some of these people, I could have cut them off way sooner. Like Jared. Jared, I could have cut off way sooner. Or I kept him around for halfway because I cared about him, halfway because of my situation. I know. Right now, I'm only finally hitting the point with him where it's like, okay, you know what? I don't. Yeah. It's like I almost would have taken my life like a week or so ago. And he didn't bother to check in because he was too selfishly obsessed with his own issues that he caused by himself because he's a hot mess of a person. And to sum up what really made me cut him off, like, or just fully just stop giving a fuck about him, he did this thing where like I was like, hey, you should sign up for this app called Blue Crew. It gives you job opportunities. You can probably pay off your debts and still afford to live here and not need to abandon your kid with your like fucking with her grandparents or whatever in this state and move to Texas. And guess what? The nigga who spent $3,000 trying to fuck some porn star that obviously was not a porn star, it was just AI. And frankly, it's like I can't believe I dated someone so stupid that they fell for such a bad, obviously shitty level of AI. Like if you saw the video, it was just literally an obvious video from the model's OnlyFans or Instagram with just the mouth hardly moving as you just heard, "Oh, hey Jared, can you help me out with this money? Thank you, love you, bye," talking super fast and robotically and monotone. And I just thought to myself, "Oh, I fucked this guy. I let a guy like that nut in me and I plan to have a fucking life with him?" So it reflects as poorly onto me as it does onto him. But yeah, with him specifically. So to sum it up, me like Jared was spent $3,000 and now he's laid on his rent and his apartment's gonna make him pay like $100 for every single day that his rent is not paid off in full, which is a stupid fucking policy, and that fucked him up hard. And but now it's like, oh hey, you're in a pit. He could have worked several shifts this weekend and gotten all the money he needed, or at least most of it to be okay and to still live in California, and everything would have been fine. But you know what this fucking idiot totally decided to do instead? He didn't get a food handler's card because it was $7. He was late on his rent and put everything in his life at risk to try to spite me by fucking a porn star that obviously was not a real porn star. And it took a lot of convincing to actually make it get into his head that it was not a real person. And I'm sure he still now he thinks it's a real person. So I think that was the part where I was like, this is a level of stupid that actually I can't fix. This is a level of mental retardation, pardon my language, that cannot be resolved. And yeah, I already made a video before about how it's a sign of respect if a person takes your advice or not, or listens to what you say, and if they show gratitude. And he was not doing a bunch of those things. And funny enough, neither did this other guy I was messing with. His name is JC. JC sent me a message like a month or so ago to cut me off, and basically, I've only just now got to read it, but he basically was like, "We were barely friends. You were just some girl I liked to have sex with." And I thought to myself, that's fucking crazy. Because it's like, oh, you mean to tell me that, like, because it's like, no, you're lying to yourself. Or maybe I'm lying to myself to save my ego, but I'll put it this way. If I really was just someone he wanted to have sex with and didn't mean shit to him, he would not be asking me to psychoanalyze his whole life. He would not be asking me for life advice. He would not be asking me for, like, he would not be crying on my fucking chest for like 2 fucking hours discussing his life issues and trying to ask for some sort of resolution or just for a shoulder to cry on. He had no one else in his life to help him out with that regard except for me. And he threw me away like I don't fucking matter now. So now, let's just say I now have to spend some portion of my time fucking this nigga's life up. I did it several years ago. I did it when I was 19, and I felt bad about doing it. I thought to myself back then, ooh, he did fuck with my emotions really hard and mess with me mentally back then, but it left such a bad ricochet effect on his life that maybe I just maybe should not do that again. And then, here we are years later. Like, I was 19 then, I'm almost 24 now. And now he's fucking me up again. It's like, sir, you didn't need to be out here watching those movie episodes with me in your car and getting me that food and getting me that birthday gift and giving me seashells and having those conversations and late night walks with me. You didn't need to do any of that. If I truly was never a friend to you, then at least have the decency to not act like I sort of was. And it hurts. It hurts a lot more than I'm actually giving myself credit to believe. I'm trying not to cry a little bit, and that's how bad it is. People like to embarrass me for caring about them. But I guess the good thing is, usually those same people fuck up their lives in a way that I don't even need to involve myself. Like, me and Jared were separated for a week, and he had every opportunity to have good luck or make his life better. Hell, he scammed his fucking banks to get the fucking paychecks that he did. He did. And guess what? He's still, with that good luck and good fortune, he could have been like, ooh, I want Tamia back. I'll offer to help her out with her finances and help her out with her life and do this and do that. He could have been like, ooh, I'm gonna pay off my debts and build my credit, or maybe even look into better apartments and save this money. He could have done a lot of things, and instead he went, I'm gonna try to fuck a porn star so that then I can use it as a one up in conversation with Tamia if she ever gets too mad at me during an argument. It's kind of disturbing how these people will go, they will sooner plot on how to fuck me over than they will plot on how to do right by me. And that's disturbing. I don't really like mankind. I don't. I'm getting tired of it. But then again, I think it's kind of comforting that I don't have too many friends for that reason. Because if I want a community of people in my life, I'd rather it be people who are actually proving that they're there for me, proving that they're consistently there for me. I cut off one friend recently because when I tried to admittedly take my own life a while back, they straight up didn't. It's like, oh, okay. So when they were when they were thinking about jumping in front of a train, when they were thinking about hanging themselves or drowning themselves or slitting their wrists, I was there for them to talk them out of it and convince them to keep going. And what was my reward? I couldn't even get a fucking call back when the roles were reversed. What a cunt. And then on top of that, it's like my housemate. When my housemate was suicidal and shit, I let them know, like, hey, you still have reasons to live. Don't worry about that one relationship. It's just plenty of fish in the sea. And, frankly, if they want to react that way over you simply communicating how you felt or simply being depressed for a bit, then maybe they're just not the one for you. But oh, roles reversed and they wanted to get me evicted, which they are not able to do and are not allowed to do by the government for a lot of reasons. Fuck them. They don't even have a reason for trying. They just tried to send me a text like the next morning, like, you cannot live here. And it's like, boo hoo, bitch. Like, nothing happened there that was traumatizing for them. Like, at most, it was like an ambulance came and checked my vitals for 20 minutes and then just was like, hey, are you doing okay? Here's a paper with some resources on it if you feel bad again. And then they left. And it's like, you mean to tell me that you can't even go, hey, are you okay? Or do you need to talk? Or anything? You just really went, fuck that. Like, how are you mad at me? Oh, okay. Amazing. People are a lot more selfish than I'm willing to give them credit for, and it's actually scaring me. But I guess the ironic thing is that the more selfish people are, like, it could, there's one of two things. It could make me even more like, oh, I need to get off this fucking planet. Or it could make me even more focusing on myself. Because it's like, okay, you know what? If my housemate doesn't give a fuck about me, I won't give a single damn about them. Because, fuck it, they're not the only one who can be selfish. It goes two ways. If that friend, like, is that, like, I've had several friends hitting me up, whining to me about their breakups. Like, ooh, no, my man left me because I'm pregnant and he's abusive and blah 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 and I think he's gonna come back, and it's like, okay, like, and I feel so sad and sorry for them, but they don't give any shits about my situation. But at least for her, for that specific lady, I will say she's pregnant and in a very fucked up situation herself. But it's like, I'm not asking for her to just like give up all of her millions of stresses and pregnancy hormones and bad thoughts. I'm just asking for a little bit of like, how are you, by the way? Because it's like when I was down fucking horrendous, guess what? Like, super down horrendous. I still cared about Jared enough in his situation, despite him not caring about mine. He actively went out of his way to try to make me even more suicidal when the 5150 attempt did not work. And that's so fucking funny in hindsight. It's like, oh, like he just went, yeah, okay. To me, is in a vulnerable place right now and obviously feeling very messed up. I'm gonna just go straight to telling her that she's a waste of space and all this fucked up shit about her. And then even for like a week or so, like, funny, later that night he did try to be a little bit more emotional, but that was just because he wanted to vent about the situation he got himself into. He explained, I couldn't meet you today because I lost a lot of money, blah blah blah. Then he fucking explained 1738. Sorry, the time said 1738 on the bar below. Unrelated, I'm sorry. But yeah, Jared. Okay, I distracted myself. Sorry. But yeah, Jared's a piece of shit, and he was only vulnerable not because he cared for me, just because he wanted to vent and be like, "Ooh, I fucked things up with you and my daughter and my home life. I spent money on this thing, blah blah blah." And then any time period after that, he did not give a single shit about how I felt. He didn't ask how it was doing once. And then only after like almost a week when he did, that was only because I said, oh, here I am giving a shit about your situation, and you can't even ask how I'm doing. And I'm the one who is now in a weird situation with my housemate and being like fucking threatened with a fake ass eviction that, of course, is not like, if you can't just text someone you can't live here and then they go. That's not how this works. But still, it's like, oh, okay, so here I am in a situation that you kind of caused, and like, here I am, the one who's like down fucking horrendous, and like nearly did not exist last week. And here you are, not asking a single bit how I'm doing. Like, all they were doing was just drinking, 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 drinking. Complaining, complaining, complaining. But I thought, you know what, let me be a good Samaritan. Why? Because sadly, I do still care for people. I had still cared for people. I think I'm going to stop now. And I was like, hey, here's a situation. Like, here's a few apps, and here's a referral code so you could get a payout for extra money, blah, blah, blah. Just for them to not even do the fucking food handler's card. And it's like, they could have made all the money they needed, and yeah, it's like, you know what? If maybe it's just their fate to be a fucking asshole and that we aren't meant to be together and that they don't care about me. And I just need to leave and move on with my life and be happy, because they're never going to make me happy. I have, like, the pregnant woman, she is complaining about her fucking situation and her heartbreak. And only recently now, because she's understanding the severity of it, is she actually starting to be like, oh, hey, Tamia, like, how are, like, she isn't fully going, how are you doing, but she is like, oh yeah, that's fucked up, that man's a terrible person, he could have put you in so much danger, especially knowing how brutal the cops can be. and everything. So at least she's trying. I have another friend of mine who claims they care about me, but it's like all they do is like they hit me up only when they want to vent about their heartbreak, and only that. Funny enough, it's the same guy I threatened with his own address because he wanted to fuck me. It was funny. It's like he wanted to fuck me. I said no, and you're weird for asking. And then but then somehow like 10 minutes later, he just started crying in my text messages about his fucked up breakup he's going through and how he's coping with sex and drugs. And it's like, okay. And I vented to him, but now it's like, okay, how come you can vent to me, but I can't vent to you? And I'm just kind of gonna end any friendship that seems that way. Because with this guy, Juan Carlos, I was with, I let him vent to me just for him to say I was never anything to him. Like, just nothing. And then same for Morgan. Morgan also, the same day that Jared was being a fucking cunt and couldn't see me despite the suicidal thoughts, Morgan was also like, Morgan just a few days before was doing the same routine of trying to be like, ooh, marriage and kids, ooh, ooh, deep rooted affection and love. I would love that with you, blah blah blah. Just for it to be like, hey, I'm in a super. I told him everything, and I was like, I'm doing so bad. Can I just meet with you for free? Like, we could just hang out. And he didn't. Why? Because he had some new ish to focus on. So now I'm gonna be the selfish one. I'm probably gonna do some things that I don't know if I can describe them as self destructive. If the only thing being destroyed are connections that already probably were not as fucking wonderful as I thought they were. With like, it's like, okay, I'm destroying connections with people that were bad for me, and they're gonna try to make me feel bad for it, but deep down they never felt bad for anything they did to me, so why should I care? And self-destructive in the sense of maybe it'll hurt me in the sense of ooh, my morals, but it seems like life just keeps giving me lessons that maybe it's not a good thing to have morals, because having morals and thinking that some people were worthy of communication and respect and like, relatability and sympathy and empathy, that I so far I've just been punished a lot for it, and so that makes me just want to be fucking cutthroat, just like no one talk to me, no one deal with me, no one do anything for me, fully narcissistic, like fuck you, dude. You want to vent about your heartbreak, that's fine, but you have to promote my social media pages. Okay, hey, listen, asshole over there. I know you want to fuck me, you fucking pervert. Guess what? You better hook me up with a good ass music producer or a good photographer. Hey, asshole over there. I have rent that to do. So it's like, you can pretend that you're in love with me if you want, but if you're not paying my rent, go fuck yourself. And just going through, like, I'll put it this way. I am tempted by the idea that going through life selfishly would benefit me more than going through it pleasantly. But I guess I'll try not to do that. I might do it for the next 24 hours just to see how I feel. But narcissists often do get ahead more in life because they don't care about other people. They don't care if other people are good or bad. They care about them in the way of stepping stones and getting ahead. I remember I had an easier time with my family once I stopped being like, ooh, thank you. Oh, how, like, once I stopped caring with my family, suddenly my mom was more interested in me. Because once I stopped thanking her for giving me money and stopped giving her the attention and power she needed, then, and like, I remember once I just fully left my mom's place for like almost a whole fucking month after I already was gone for like 11 days. And I remember when I came back, she was honestly pretty damn, like, this is something that at least is decent about her. She was at least, she was surprisingly heartbroken, or at least sad, because I guess she just thought to herself, damn, I could have just, to me, it could have up and left and never, we would have never seen her again. And that would have sucked. Like, even though they don't even like me. But I guess in her, like, her ego and her, she was like, "Aw, my child, you mean to tell me that one day she could just leave and never return and just be gone? And it'll just happen in the blink of an eye like that?" Kind of tragic that is how that worked out, but it's not my fucking fault. She was not a good parent. She had it coming. Anyway, I'm just coping with the whole reality of, like, as you can imagine, this is taking a toll on me. That some of the people who wanted to be so close to me were actually not that close to me at all. And that almost any single person I can imagine that was a friend or an ally to me is absolutely fucking not. They're just someone who's around. And that I can talk and say whatever, but that won't stop people. I could tell, I could talk about my life 24/7 on my Instagram story or on my YouTube, and someone can still come along and just be like, "Hey, Tamia, how are you doing? How's life been?" And then I'm like, "Oh," like I'll think to myself, I can tell they watch all my stories. They know how life's going. But if I dare to talk about anything, then I'll learn that they don't they're the story skipper type. They skip my stories unless they see a hot picture of me or a meme. How pathetic of them. And they call themselves a friend. So I guess in certain aspects I was able to befriend certain people, and sometimes I did get have an easier time in life. And maybe that is why I kept certain people around these past few months, because I knew, okay, Jared's a horny pervert and an asshole and a racist and a misogynist and possibly transphobic. But you know what? He tells good jokes sometimes, and if he wants to cook me food and help me out, and I can use him as a stepping stone before I move on to even richer, healthier, more mentally aligned men who are actually what I want, I will do that. The sad thing is, I got connected along the way, and that was my worst mistake. And then as for other people, it'd be like, oh, you know what? This Joe guy, he seems like he's definitely a misogynist, like in a much more sinister way than I'm giving him credit for. But if he wants to give me rides to these comedy events and occasionally pay for my food or my drinks, and like truly 100% does not want to fuck me and just to socialize, then sure, I'll do it. And like sometimes it does feel good. I remember I told y'all about this guy I dated when I was, yeah, during high school, Zachary Bond. Horrible piece of shit guy. But I had the most luck in my relationship with him when I just simply showed up, was hot, treated him like shit, but not overly like shit, just like treated him in a way as if I was a goddess and that he was just like some ant under my thumb, like nothing to me. And that made him like me more. And then suddenly I was like, I remember we went out to this fancy burger joint. He paid the bill for anything I fucking wanted, and I was fully on that date, like telling his sister all about this hot guy I dated before with amazing abs and beautiful red hair, and he just had to sit there and listen with a smile. And I remember I was trying to cheat on him, but then again, that was the plan all along. I pre-planned to cheat on him because I was like, you know what? I don't care about this man, and I actually plan to hurt him as much as I can get away with, and then dump him off coldly. Because you know what? After years of his abusive shit and the revenge porn and the bullying and the orchestrated evil that he has done to me, I deserve a little fun treat, and I had the best time ever. I was happy that I was able to sext that guy at the time, Victor, as Zachary would be waiting for hours and hours and hours for a response back. Same for Morgan. There were times I remember, yeah, I remember at some point me and Morgan were doing good. But then deep down I was like, I don't know how long this would last, and he has been inconsistent and isn't fully what I want, and I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket just to get disappointed again because he has disappointed me before. So I sort of punished him by, I remember Morgan went out of his way. He was like, hey, I'm in your city because I'm doing drop offs. Let me come in for a kiss. And I kissed him and hugged him. And he was like, what are you doing today? And I just fully told him that I was going to see my ex Liam. And Morgan was pissed and seething about it. But yeah. And then next thing you know, I met up with Liam. We had a fun little day at the beach and had some food and had a great time. And we fucked. And it was fun. And I liked it. And Liam was happy. Morgan, not so much. Morgan actually cut himself. I remember what the most disturbing part of this story, I'll tell you. Morgan was calling me later in that evening, and I told him, "Hey, listen, dude. Like, I took a Plan B, and I can't meet with you, and I'm not showered. I can't see you, and I don't want to see you." He was like, "Please, I'll do anything to see you. I just want to hang out with you and talk. We don't have to have sex. We don't have to do anything. I don't care. Just don't even shower. Just come see me." He picks me up with the bloody cut still on his leg, and I'm sure he wore shorts specifically because he wanted me to see it. And I didn't know how to feel about it. A part of me, maybe, I don't know. It's hard to remember how I felt back then, but I think I felt a little bad, probably devastatingly bad. But I was hiding it back then, how bad I felt. But now, knowing him and all the shit he's threatened me with and done to me, I feel kind of good that he cut himself over me. I'm glad because several times I almost killed myself over that man. He got to know how it fucking feels to be hurt by someone you really liked and cared about. And what Morgan did. Let's just say Morgan showed me how deep and disturbing his devotion to me could really, really be like. And let's just say, I don't even want to repeat what happened, but I think God actually would be afraid to know that his creations were doing what Morgan did to me that evening. And let's just keep it there. I'm sure you can connect the dots yourself, but it was nasty. Also, funny enough, before did I already mention Morgan abandoned me for another bitch recently? Yeah, that was fun. I say sarcastically, of course. Days before that, he also ate my pussy, and like while I was on my period, he ate it 3 separate times. There was actually I don't want to describe too much. Actually, I'll say it. There was a point where I remember I used his bathroom, but my pussy was so wet that a piece of tissue got stuck in there, and I have long nails. I couldn't fish it out. I was like, Morgan, can you help me? Your nails seem shorter, but his nails were sort of sharp too, so he couldn't. This man used his tongue to eat the tissue out of my pussy and then spat it out and then continued eating my pussy. Mind you, I was also on my period. And he ate that shit 3 fucking times like it was a fucking high end Brazilian steakhouse cuisine dinner. Good lord. Fuck. And it's like, you mean to, so it's like, you were pre-coming up a storm. Your cock was literally producing Hurricane Katrina level wetness. And you were damn near orgasming from eating my bloody and other stuff pussy. And yet you still, and you were talking all this and that about a future. And yet you still, you know, like you see, it's like, what, damn, all that shit, and you mean to tell me you still move on to someone else? That's kind of wild. I don't even know how to feel about that. It's like, sir, it's like most people don't do that unless they're devoted and obsessed. But okay, you know what? If a girl manages to make a man more interested in her, like even regardless of him doing all that just a few days before, kudos to her. Like, cause not even like some could even describe what me and Morgan did as witchcraft. There's several people saying, "Ooh, if a man eats your period blood, he's gonna be obsessed with you forever." And if you somehow manage to outgame me, where you can take my man like that, where I'm fucking suicidal, and I may or may not have some stuff that I'm not gonna tell you about, like with the severity of the suicide attempt. You mean to tell me? Sorry. Like, bitch, give me your game card at that point, because that's fucking impressive. He ate my pussy on my period, did all this shit, talked this much about having a future, got me an expensive plant, did all this, and that about how bad he wanted to see me again, reiterated about the future and kids, and then still managed to go for someone else. She must have some, like, god damn. Now I want to meet her. Now I want to eat her pussy. Because how cool must she be? Like, dead ass. Oh well. Jesus. And before you go, oh my god, don't you care about your fucking online footprint? I've already talked to people about this online before. Like, anyone who's watched my story would probably go, oh yes, we know about that. To me and Morgan do freaky stuff. Like, they already know about all the shit with the milkshakes and the, yeah, like, I don't need to get into it. Anyway, I guess I feel a little better now that I joked about that at the very least. But yeah, I'm just coping with the fact that it's like, okay, these niggas didn't mean, allegedly, I didn't mean much to them, despite all of their reiterations on how much I allegedly meant to them. And they did all a bunch of stuff just because they could. Just to kill the time, or just because they were bored, or just because they wanted a therapist or a resolution to their problems. But some of them couldn't even respect me enough to actually follow resolutions offered that they begged for. Some of them, like, I don't know. On the bright side, they usually fuck up their lives without me getting involved. And sometimes the best thing I can do is just leave. You'd be surprised. Like, my family raised fucking hell over me just simply leaving. I remember in high school when, like, after years of bullshit from my ex, when I finally did just go, you know what? I'm gonna stop showing up to classes and I'm just gonna sit in the garden all day listening to music and journaling on my blog and writing my scripts and having, like, planning out my life goals and sitting in restaurants and having fun, and I'm going to do that. And that's what I did. And then suddenly everyone in my life from like the same shitty ex Zachary to like the people in his friend circle to teachers who didn't give a shit about me and actively hated me. Suddenly they're like, "Ooh, Tamia, come back, come back, come back, come back." And I know that for Juan Carlos, it's like, okay, you say that you adore me. You say a lot of things to me. But like, I don't know. But at the same time, a part of me, whenever he contacted me, I knew he's only contacting me because he wants to come and wants to have an orgasm or wants to dream about some fictional romantic situation between us to pass the time because he's bored or feeling lost in life and wants to have attention because he's horny. Or maybe he just wants to feel like there's something he can do and rely on. Or maybe he wants to feel as if there is some good that is left for him. You know? Kind of annoyed at how often I can get used by people. It's like, okay, Morgan used me so that then as he transitions into a new relationship with someone that he definitely likes a lot better than me, despite all of his extremely delusional obsessions and weird manipulation tactics to hopefully have sex with me for free or convince me to see him more often, or maybe he did delude himself into thinking he actually likes me while knowing full damn well that he would only contact me if he was horny, not if he wanted to plan a date, just to like swear that he was head over heels in love with me and wanted a future. But he didn't like me that much. I would even be like, okay, if you like me so much, plan a date. He wouldn't plan a date. He'd sooner pay to fuck me. And meanwhile, he was sending that bitch paragraphs only like 5 minutes after we had sex. Last time we met up. And then on top of that, it's like, it's just depressing. It's depressing as fuck. How it's like, okay, you could have just, he didn't need to do all that shit he did. That's what frustrates me. A lot of people don't need to do the shit they did at all. At all. If Jared wanted a healthy relationship with me, he could have helped me out with my finances. He knew I was struggling and stressed out and suicidal because my job wasn't paying me enough. But he sooner chose to pay some obviously scam AI sex worker just for the chance to one up me, as if I already wasn't going to be doing bad. Because I already was obviously doing bad. He claimed he was worried all week before I had contacted him before the suicide attempt that I had been dead. But clearly not, because you were giving money to a sex worker and still planning to fuck her for an ego boost and to use in an argument with me. Like, Morgan could have really just, I would have just fucked him and paid and had no, it's just like the audacity for him to even try to be all this, that, the other, and future faking and delusional about me. Whole time it's like, no, he just wanted pussy so that then he wouldn't have to like keep waiting with the girl he really likes super long for her to give it up or whatever. He's a piece of shit. It just hurts because it's like, okay, I'm at the stage where every single person in my life so far has been a piece of shit. I can blame myself. I can blame myself because it's like, okay, I probably shouldn't have, like, if I was suicidal and then this person didn't do anything, but the second they're suicidal, I should drop everything and run to them. Maybe that person is someone I should have stopped talking to. But I guess sometimes I appreciated it because it's like, you know what? I appreciate a distraction from my life. But they could never do that for the inverse because those people were inherently selfish. I could be suicidal but still be like, I'm going to talk to Nico about their fucked up life. I'm going to talk to Abe about their fucked up life. I'm going to talk to Jared about how they can be their daughter and how they're worth living for and ways they can like get the money. People still won't take advice, or if they do, they won't thank me for it. It's thankless. And then it's like I can't even get like a thank you for being such a good friend. And also, I'm going to follow up and show you how good of a friend you are by being there for you when you're at your lowest. It depresses me and sickens me, and a lot of these people are fucking losers. And it's like, I am sad that I ever let these losers in my life, but the good thing is I no longer have to. Even if it means I'll go to some events alone, even if it means I have to pay for my own food at a restaurant or a bar, even if it means like that I have to cut people off sooner rather than later and not even give them a chance. Like, just That's how I'm feeling. Oh well. Alright, I think I've talked enough. Goodbye. Thanks for listening if you've gotten this far.